probably the best carving that's ever going to be done. You know, it's sort of either being done right now or it's kind of been done. So now it's the future of surfing is really in the air, you know.
Getting barreled is obviously never going to die. It's an awesome thing, you know, you're in the green room. That's the original way I think that people thought surfing was to be done, and the new frontier was to be above the lip, which is, you know, kind of like a skater that's going to come out of the half pipe and kind of transfer in the air and then come back in.
For years, competitive surfing has been about power and precision. Competitions and lucrative endorsements long favored the surfers who clung to the face of a wave, and often shunned those who did not.
It was me against the world. It was a real battle in order to change things.
But now, a new generation of young surfers has emerged who see the open space above the wave as new territory ripe for conquest.
I think it kind of blew minds because people were just going, you know, you don't have straps like snowboarders, you know, you don't have a similar, it's always changing the surface that you're airing off of it.
Raised on skateboarding and raw, hard-driving surfing films, this new generation includes surfers like Dane Reynolds from Ventura, Jordy Smith of South Africa, Matt Miola from Hawaii, and Pat Gudauskas in San Clemente. They are at the forefront of surfing's future, pushing the realm of what's possible into the ether.
It's easy to just turn and surf to the beach and be powerful and do that stuff. And then the aerial tricks are like, you may only stick 1 out of 10 flips or 1 out of 10 air reverses, or maybe not even. You could go 10 straight and never stick one.
Gudauskas, who now makes almost $200,000 a year as a competitive surfer, was in a competition last June in the Maldives, where he nailed a difficult move called a rodeo clown, an inverted 1.5 rotation spin, and earned a perfect 10.
And I just stood straight up and was just like just literally just looked at him like, what? Like I couldn't believe I stuck it. Everyone was cheering. I see my brothers like in the corner just frothing.
It was the first time the move had been successfully landed in a major competition, and in many ways it signaled the aerial's new primacy in competitive surfing.
That I can get a 10 for one maneuver. I think, you know, back in the day that's like, it's unheard of.
New contest rules now reward a move's difficulty over consistency. Other changes have opened up contests to more radical maneuvers that surfing's royalty says are here to stay.
I think that modern day surfing, you shouldn't be able to get the highest score possible unless you've done something pretty crazy on a wave. You know?
But catching airs was not always well regarded. Some of the early pioneers shunned surfing's conservatism, its obsession with the long ride, and paid a steep price for their rebellion.
They wanted a jerk. Actually, they wanted an and I gave them the best one I possibly could.
In the late 1980s, Christian Fletcher was one of the earliest surfers to incorporate aerial moves into his repertoire. But surfing was not yet ready to change.
They said it was not surfing. Like in a contest, I'd do them and stuff, and they'd give me a score of like 2s and 3s. And that was for maneuvers nobody'd ever seen before.
We weren't really doing aerials because we were competing, and the aerials at that time, they weren't considered what was scoring the points. It was considered a trick.
Fletcher, known for his anti-establishment attitude, says he was ostracized for pushing hard to change judging criteria. He was banned from competitions. Magazines stopped running photos of him, ending hopes for sponsorships.
I was going to do what I was going to do no matter what, whether they liked it or not. And they really didn't like it. And it was war. I was pissed.
Fletcher fell into drug abuse and his popularity dimmed. But today, the new generation of aerial surfers agree that his contributions set the stage for their own successes.
Christian and these guys, they pretty much were martyrs. They kept at it and they go, okay, this is the future and we're going to keep doing this whether you scored or not. And eventually I think that the competitive surfing and the judges and everyone kind of were like, that's where it's going.
Now that it's clear where surfing is headed, judging is catching up. Kelly Slater thinks that's probably healthy in a sport that for too long remained tethered to the waves and to the past.
They're doing the surfing right now that we're trying to figure out how they should be judged on it. They're going to eventually get into that role where it's them sort of saying, no, this is the criteria and this is where it has to go from here on out. So guys my age are, they should be saying that surfing should be going with where those guys are at.